We're the beta testers of money. It sucks.
Hey, and with that, I have the fantastic pleasure of speaking with the one, the only Kenn Bosak, the crypto mascot extraordinaire, influencer, whatever you want to call him. He's the man. He's the man with a plan, and the plan is to live off crypto. And guess what? You're executing it, aren't you? How's it going, man?
Goes well, bro. Thanks for having me. Much appreciated.
Yeah, so I'm kind of the poster child in some ways of like the unbanked crypto guy, but I'm not the only one. And of course, I want to throw shine to other people who are trying this thing as well, especially,
Thank you.
because otherwise I'm kind of like a phony trying to soak up all stuff like this is just me and I'm so special, like my mother always told me. And then, what turns out there's others, but
sound like me on Twitter. I'm like, nobody is ever using this. I'm like, oh yeah, some people do.
yeah, like 5 of us. I mean,
yeah,
I've found most of them.
Handful.
Yeah. So first off, how unbanked are you? And my unbanked thing is I don't have a bank account and I don't use services that require my ID. Like say if I wanted to get an Uphold account or card, I'd need to put in my ID, and so I don't do that.
I don't mind doing the KYC stuff. It's just certain layers. Like if I don't have a proof of address, so I don't have a bank because I can't prove where I live. I can't prove the address on my driver's license is where I rest my head at night. And even if it didn't match where I rest my head at night, I have to get a new driver's license. And so I have like one layer of KYC that I can kind of go through. And I'm completely unbanked. I do have a PayPal account, but other than my BitPay card, I'm completely unbanked.
Well, how did that become that way? Now, of course, you threw a hint out there, which I'm guessing it has something to do with the no permanent address thing, because I've heard that story before. But like, was it a choice of like, I don't want a bank account, I'm going to get rid of this? Or was it just your life circumstances got rid of it for you and you're just doing your best?
It's actually a weird series of events, but it all started in like 2015. I was looking to invest in something. I was like, I'm an adult. I have a beard now. I have to invest in stuff, right? That's what adults do. They,
yeah, I'm not quite an adult yet. 32 years of age. I'm a kid.
You know what I mean, though? I was just like, I'm getting gray hairs and shit. I gotta do something that adults do, and I was like, well, I should invest in something. I was looking at like the stock market. I was looking at like gold and silver, stuff like that, precious metals. And I sort of fell down a rabbit hole. I was like trying to find something that was sort of new, a little bit more risk, but had more opportunity. And I kind of fell into the Snapchat IPO. And I was just like, well, that's a no brainer. I think it was like $2 to $4 or something like that IPO. And then when it went public, it was, I'll get to that in a second, but I was like, all right, so I saved up a bunch of money in cash. And I was like, I'm going to invest in Snapchat. I heard they have this deal with the Olympics in China, which is canceled now or something. So it's like, but I was like, this makes sense. Snapchat could pump and dump. Let me try to do this. I read into what a pump. This is all new lingo to me, man. I had no clue. Yeah. You know how much I knew about investing at that point in 2015? I took $5,000 in cash to a bank and asked them to help me invest in Snapchat. Dude, they laughed at me, bro. They were like, we don't do that here. And I was just like, all right,
where do they do that?
Right. I was like, I was like, you can download the TD Ameritrade app. And they tried to tell me about some apps and stuff, which was really helpful. But then I found out that an IPO, you need to be accredited and stuff like that. And at this point, I mean, I jumped through all of these hoops. I saved up the money and I just started to get like sort of like a vendetta. All right, it's cool. Whatever. I can't invest in it because I'm not accredited. Fine. Hey, like I said, it went from $4 to $4 IPO. Public over $20. Now I'm really upset. I'm looking at the ticker for Snapchat, and I'm like, yeah, I wanted to buy then and sell that. I could have been accredited after all of this. So at that point, man, I literally was just, the bank I went to is the bank I had for my job where I was saving the money and everything, I closed my account, got the cash in hand, and was just like, screw this. Screw stocks. I was about to go all in on like gold and silver because I just found out you can get a gold debit card, and you can basically spend your gold like we're doing with BitPay and spending Bitcoin.
Yeah, what year was that? Do you remember?
2015.
Yeah, because that was exactly me in 2013. I heard about this. I think it was a Peter Schiff gold debit card thingy that he had, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get that."
Yeah, I was gonna do that too.
But then it was then I found Bitcoin and started using it when I moved here in New Hampshire. Then I just didn't need it anymore. But it literally the exact same story, except that I closed my bank years after instead of before.
That's funny. Yeah, dude. As soon as I found out about the gold debit card, I was about to go all in. And one of my coworkers at the time, shout out to Matt Harris, he actually was like, dude, this digital gold thing. And he heard of like the hardship I had with the Snapchat IPO. And he was kind of on his own going through the rabbit hole of the Ethereum ICO. And it was like, obviously just starting out. And I'm just like, wait a minute. So I listened to Vitalik talk about the Internet of Things, and I learned a little bit about ICOs, and I was like, wait, there's no KYC. There's none of this accredited crap. And hold on. And I didn't jump into that boat, but I did go from the Ethereum ICO, Vitalik's Internet of Things, to Andreas Antonopoulos and the Internet of Money and Bitcoin and the digital gold. And it just made sense to kind of jump in. And with Coinbase, and at the time they had the Shift Payments card, I could just spend Bitcoin right from my Coinbase account. So it was really easy to just, I could use it just like I was going to use cash or gold or anything like that. And I kind of just went into it from like, screw the current system, the system that wants me to be accredited and wants, me to have their permission to take part of an opportunity I clearly did my homework on, and just lost out. I mean, it was just so discouraging that if there wasn't any other opportunity, no other avenue that crypto could offer that didn't have that KYC and accredited barrier to entry, I would have probably have given up even trying to invest, and I would have went down the never-ending circle that is saving, which really is nothing. It's just let me store my money here and lose purchasing power over time.
Yeah, which is what everyone else does if they even do that. And that's the sad thing, is when you hit this whole COVID nonsense, then all of a sudden you saw, hey, there's a lot of people that, they're out of work for a month and then they're going to be out on the street. They can't make rent. And it's like, well, so the savings thing is a pretty big myth too. And probably because of the whole credit-based world too. But yeah, so you just got into that. And then I think a lot of people, so first off, how do you spend most of your crypto? Like for myself, it's probably about 50% walk up someplace with a phone, buy it from a person face to face, or buy a thing online directly through it. And then the rest is like mostly gift cards, like BitRefill and things.
Right.
So like, what is it like for you?
Yeah, I live off BitRefill. The gift cards is pretty, I have like every business, and there's not many. I've actually started to use businesses that actually do have like a way to use BitRefill, so I've like limited the amount of stores that I actually shop at, but I do have all their individual apps on my phone, and I can top up my wallet, in that app. So like Starbucks or Burger King, Uber Eats, whatever, I can use BitRefill for that. I use my BitPay card for cashing sometimes, for like if I wanted to get like I can't even think of like an example. I guess like an app or something from Google Play, but even then I think BitRefill does that. So it's hard to think of an example randomly, but and if I have to pay rent, because I live with my cousin and we all pitch in to pay the mortgage here, I do have to get cash for that. So I use my Monarch wallet, and you can find a local coin flip Bitcoin ATM just from like my wallet. So I open there, go right to a Bitcoin ATM and put in some Bitcoin, get out some cash, give it to my cousin. We pay the rent. But let's see, how else do I spend some of this? I like doing the peer-to-peer things. So like if I ever have a chance, like with OTC stuff, a lot of the times I'll have Bitcoin from like a sponsor or from a donation, and I need to cash out to, pay rent or something else where I need cash. Maybe my brother needs to borrow money to do something. I'll hit up the OTC groups from like one of my local meetups. So I definitely recommend you get involved in crypto meetups in your area, physical local meetups where you can rub elbows with people in your community and have like a safe space to buy and sell from peer to peer within that community. And every once in a while, you could even see like you'll work out like a 5 to 10%, fee. So like if I'm buying it or selling it, usually there's a 10% fee involved in that community. And that's, the perks of not having to go through like the KYC or anything inconvenient. I could just be like, here, send me your Bitcoin address. Here's my PayPal account. Send it to my PayPal real quick and, call it a day.
Yeah, that's there's another service that I've been relentlessly whoring, which is called Lamium, which is basically like Purse, but for bills. And so basically they have a bunch of accredited bill payers that they'll pay your electricity bill for you, and then they take your Dash or Bitcoin for it. And on their side, they get to buy crypto and save 1%.
Yeah, so awesome.
Yeah, as opposed to actually like paying a fee, and they don't have to give their. I mean, I don't know what their verification process is to get in there, but it's not like a KYC thing where they share it with the government or anything, or they keep your ID on file or something. So yeah, that's and I would definitely, obviously, right around where I'm at. There's a lot of crypto meetups and stuff, and I've done just a lot of in-person everything. Like just usually it's just people that like want to go spending crypto too. So of course I'll sell anyone crypto if it means I know they're going to go spend it locally to me. I'll be like, here you go.
Some of the stuff I get a lot is because I travel and I go to a lot of conferences.
Man, you can make like a ghillie suit out of that or something.
That's definitely the goal, is to do something with these to make something. But a lot of people are like, how do you live off of crypto and travel at the same time? And there's so many businesses that accept, crypto straight up, like cheapair.com, Expedia. With Bitrefill, you can get your Airbnb, I think. Somehow I get Airbnb. How did I do that? Is that through Bitrefill?
It is, among other things. But
right.
Yeah, like I bought this phone off of cryptoemporium.eu, which is a crypto-only site that prices everything in crypto. And you can buy electronics, you can buy cars and houses and stuff too, if you ever want to do that.
Oh,
but
cool.
Then I use Bitrefill to top it up. This phone has never touched Fiat, which is just the way I like it.
Yeah, I miss Purse. I used Purse.io a lot when they were around, man.
They're back.
Wait, what? Wait, who acquired them? Was it Justin Sun?
No, Roger helped them out.
Roger, respect, bro. That's awesome.
It wasn't, and it was a regulatory issue that somehow by using infrastructure that Bitcoin.com had, that they're able to get around. But yeah, it's still there. And as far as I know, they have like a SideShift AI integration. So if you have like something other than Bitcoin Cash, you can just switch it at the point of whatever to deposit.
Like Shapeshift or Changely.
Yeah, one of those sorts of things.
Okay.
Yeah, so Purse is still around, thankfully.
Oh, dude, thank you. I did not know that.
That would have been, that would have been pretty nasty.
Well, a lot of people don't know, and this is like, something I like to kind of put a light on is like, like my mom doesn't use Bitcoin. She's not going to sit there and, buy, sell, trade. She's not that involved in it, but she does have a use for it, and it is on Amazon with Purse. So like anything she buys on Amazon, she'll create that wish list. She'll take that wish list over to Purse.io. She'll probably put up like a 10 to 20% discount, and then she'll go to Coinbase, buy the Bitcoin, send it right to Purse, and that's it. She just basically bought her Amazon stuff for 10 to 20% off.
Yeah, which is fantastic. And one thing I should point out, which is obviously something I'm going to show on the video series on how to do this stuff, but if you live in New England or those parts of Canada, you can get these off of Amazon, and this is for gas.
Oh,
you
cool.
Just buy them, they ship it to you, and you swipe at the pump, and it works. And you pay for gas, and then of course for haircuts and stuff. Although it might be easier to get a barbershop, but yeah, with Amazon you can do about everything. Like this microphone, this computer, this monitor, this extra little light thing that I'm not using right now. Like just about everything you can get off of Amazon. And so just for Purse and Lamium together, where Lamium you pay your bills and stuff, that's like everything you need. And then you use Bitrefill if you want to go out of the house, you want to pay your phone bill or whatever else.
Well, there's a lot of people that may have like a normal 9 to 5, from either working at McDonald's or a Fortune 500 company, and you get a direct deposit from your employer. There's multiple ways to, kind of conveniently get that into crypto, if not immediately, relatively quick. For starters, there's, the Coinbase option where you have that reoccurring purchasing, or you could use Bitwage. Bitwage has it so you can get a direct deposit address from Bitwage. You give that to your employer, pretty much like your bank account number and routing number. And when your employer sends the direct deposit to Bitwage, Bitwage will automatically then buy your crypto and send it right to the address you provided. So you have the keys immediately.
Yeah. I've never had to use Bitwage because I haven't had direct deposit in like a decade, to be honest. But I've heard great things about it, and they do have an uphold integration, which means if you don't want BTC, you want something else,
yep,
you can get paid all on Dash. So that's one of those things where I think that, like, based on whatever you want to do, you could kind of live off crypto today. Now, as far as like what you do, like that was how you spend crypto, and of course there's there's like endless amounts of that kind of talk we could have, but I think a lot of people would probably be fascinated to think about like what do you actually do to get it, like how do you get paid, because like when people say like what's your job, and like that's the thing, is like someone who follows you on Twitter who's not like someone who's in the industry and just knows how this kind of stuff works can start kind of connecting the dots, sort of like I did a little bit. But random people, like a family member, is just like, dude, this guy just like talks smack on Twitter all the time and just live streams playing video games. Like, where does his money come from? How does he live on like? So like, what do you actually do for money?
So because I have a decent following and I've been a pretty loud public figure, a lot of people will say like influencer, but shout out to Adam Charles and the Blockchain Awards. I did win this year. I got nominated and I won for Blockchain 2020 best or biggest, I don't know, something public figure. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Because I mean, that's how I always felt like I'm just a very public personality in this space. I've been around since 2015, active since 2016. My first interview was with like Andreas Antonopoulos, and from there I've got to interview a lot of people. I've gone to, again, a lot of conferences. So because I have that legacy and I have the following, I can kind of capitalize on the way and monetize the way I use social media and the internet. So a lot of the times I'll just try to explain, like, the easiest way is to say like, oh, influencer, even though I feel like that's not what I do, because people that influence, I think, try to go out of their way to project something that they're not, or character or something, and maybe they'll promote things that they don't necessarily align with outside of that character that's on social media, right? Like their daily life. A lot of celebrities will promote an iPhone all over the internet, and it will say, on Twitter, posted from Android. And it's like, oh, we caught you. You don't even use the thing you promote. And that's what an influencer does. They try to influence their follow. I'm publicly putting out there what I do, what I like, what I use. And because of all the following the legacy, I reach out to the projects, or some projects will reach out to me and be like, hey man, we noticed, you'll mention us or you talk about us. Would you mind doing like a giveaway? Help us get some more, followers or something. And I'm like, yeah, cool. So I do some of that, like marketing, some promotional work like that. And then I use social media platforms like, like from Twitch, Float, SoMe, Hive, Steemit. I mean, the LBRY, DLive. There's so many of these social media platforms that are blockchain based, where I earn cryptocurrency by basically, if I'm lazy, you just copy and paste, and you just post the same thing from Facebook to Twitter to Instagram that you would do on like Uptrend and Twitch and Float and Restream and Buzz and
Rebuzz or whatever.
Yeah, Rebuzz. That's the one.
Lately, but maybe I'll have to. Have you used Publish 0x before?
No, but I heard about it.
Yeah, and it obviously, as a writer, it makes more sense for me because I can, it's a lot of articles. But I did notice that if you post your YouTube videos, like Rice is on there, for example, you can get some good traction, get a few cents out of that at least.
Yo, shout out to Rice Crypto. That dude is hustling hard. Like, man, I just respect his hustle. It is encouraging to see how much he's grinding, and it makes me feel bad. Like I'm not doing enough. Like that's how much he's doing, and I love it.
I mean, guess who's the next guy I'm going to interview? By the way, who I have a DM waiting to schedule right now. So yeah, I'm getting him more shine because he deserves it.
Good vibes. He does deserve it, man. He's been like a hidden gem in crypto way too long, but it was also like bad timing with like, when he got in, it was like like he started really committing and creating and doing dedicated content right when the market took a turn for like the worst, and a lot of people lost their enthusiasm, and then, you know, obviously with like the way social media platforms like Facebook and YouTube went, you know, the demonetization and what is that, shadow banning, you know, had a lot going against him, and he's still going strong. So like, congrats.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the same thing with me. I've been doing, kind of had my head down in the Dash rabbit hole for a long time, and then now I'm like, oh, I want to be independent, and just like starting from scratch in, you know, in March, and just trying to like hit the ground running and going. It can be challenging, but like, you know, I also feel like, you know, I have like some good video editing skills, and I got some, you know, journalism skills and writing, and that's one of those things that always blows me away, is when people who have no training or no qualifications, you know, the professional world wants you to do that.
You didn't purchase a certificate that said you knew how to do this?
Yeah, exactly. Or it's like you don't have a job history, like, you know, relevant work history. It's like how people just like show up on the internet and start making money out of it. It's something that like I think you saw a little bit in like the app era of like Instagram and stuff like that. But with crypto, it's crazy how just people show up and start to care about it, and then now they just actually know. And like I could talk to some kind of financial expert who this and that, or some CEO of something, but like as far as like what crypto is and how does it work, I think you're like one of the top authorities, just because you do it. Like, you know, maybe I'm a top authority too, but I'm just saying, like, you do, like, you know this stuff. And so like, for example, I ask people, how do you do this stuff? And then I have some answers, but when I talk to you, there's always like a dozen. Like, oh, you do this, that, and if you do that, and you do the other. I was like, oh, this guy knows his stuff. He's an expert, you know, which is one of those, like, maybe you can get on MTV or whatever as a crypto expert as well.
Yeah, one day, man. I'm saving myself for Netflix.
Yeah, that's a good.
Call me Netflix.
That's a good quote out of context completely.
I'm saving myself for Netflix.
Yeah, so we gushed about all this, like, well, man, it's a great world. Oh, crypto's so awesome. You know, living off of it. It's enabling so many cool things, which is true. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in the space. But what sucks about it? Like, what sucks about being the guinea pig that we are, that just trying to live all off of this stuff that no one really lives off of, or either because the technology is too new, or just inherent things in the technology, maybe.
I mean, it all sucks. The whole thing sucks still, bro. Like I said, we're still in beta, and we're beta testers for the world's money. And it's still in stages where there's bugs, constant updates are needed. There's you know, exploits that have been found and patched, you know, and it's just still early. And we talked about how easy it is to spend, which it is, but it also can be cumbersome, especially with BTC and the confirmation times. I mean, when I'm out and I want to use, you know, Bitcoin in the moment, sometimes it can just, hold on, guys, I gotta wait for a confirmation. You know what I mean? It's just that, like, so I think it's more of like a social burden still at this point, like out and about with friends and family, and I'm the only one that has like euros in America, and everybody else has US dollar in their pocket. I'm like, I have to go find the local exchange, be right back. And other than that, I mean, if you're being suppressed or you're unbanked because of, you know, you're unidentified homeless, there's other reasons that you can't use those things. Like, crypto is great. But I mean, if you have the choice to just go get like a Wells Fargo account and use your Visa card, like, yeah, it's going to be a way better experience, unless you're, you know, doing things that they want to censor. Like if you enjoy sex workers and you want to pay for OnlyFans, well, PayPal doesn't want that. I mean, Pornhub recently just lost their PayPal partnership, and they went full in on crypto, you know. So there are industries that have issues, like the cannabis industry as a whole, you know, is completely unbankable to the federal level. So like, I think they're going to be able to move that way. So, you know, you may see Potcoin or something more likely accepted at your local dispensary than you're going to see Visa accept it. But yeah, I mean, it is a hassle as much as it's not. It just depends on like your risk level. Like, I don't have any kids. I the only thing I have to pay for is my rent for my room in a house where me and my brother, my cousin split the mortgage. Like, my responsibilities are very low. I can afford a high risk, which is why I enjoy doing the crypto thing. It is super risky. Some weeks I can afford to spend more than I can others, which has been really interesting to see, like the volatility in my wallet as opposed to the psychological volatility that I see on the price tags of like when I go shopping. It's been a different experience, you know, the past 4 or 5 years, just looking at the way I spend money and looking at the money in my account and how, you know, my purchasing power can move so, you know, rapidly that I think I'm more comfortable now in volatility than I ever was in the fiat stability of banking, if that makes any sense. Because like I've never had my bank account go, oh, well, I got 10-20% this week, you know, holding fiat in Wells Fargo. Never has that ever happened. But through my experience in Bitcoin, I've seen 1,000% gains, bro. I mean, it has been ridiculous, but I mean, I got in under $400. So for me personally, my perspective has been very different than people that may have got in at 20,000, but they're not living off of it. And I feel like if they dollar cost average their way in, they would have had a different experience as well. I think right now you can follow on Twitter, Bitcoin Stimulus or something like that. And they're tracking how much your $1,200 stimulus check from Trump for COVID-19 is now worth in BTC volatility. And I have a feeling that people are, that's going to click for a lot of people. That right there, that $1,200 that they got for free, that they could have just dropped in the BTC, and over the time, how even if it goes under 12, it goes above 13, volatility, I think, is going to be something people strive for rather than stability. I think stable coins are just, they're not going to have a future, in my opinion.
Yeah. And it's one of those things. It's hard to go against the vogue sometimes. And I feel like you're one of those people who's half cutting edge of popularity, half saying stuff no one wants to hear. And I feel like I'm mostly a person who's just no one wants to hear. You know, I'm mostly, I don't have that fun personality side of it. But that's exactly true about like the stable coins is what, like no one would care about. I mean, let me be honest, from my perspective, people care about Bitcoin because it lets them do it. Back in the day, it let them do stuff that they couldn't otherwise do. They got to accept payments where they would be blocked. They got to send payments where it would be blocked. They got to not have their accounts frozen. They got to send in teeny little increments, whatever it was. And after that, though, everyone who didn't care about that got in for the mad gains. Or at the very least, the mad, not horrible inflation every year, losing purchasing power. Oh my God. You know? And so stable coins are basically like, let's peg it to the, like, we need a Venezuelan Bolivar stable coin, right? That's pegged to the value of the Bolivar. Right. So you can watch your stuff tank 10% a day just over and over. Like,
thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect like, example.
It's the ultimate stable coin, right? And so I understand that stable coins are a trader's tool for trading. And the only reason is because it's to get around legal regulations. Because if you were trading with USD, you'd have all these, you know, restrictions and things like that. But it's basically like illegally printed USD kind of that you can sort of use to trade and flip your stuff. And then when people start talking all this stuff about, oh, we need stable coins for like merchant adoption and stuff, I'm like, isn't that like PayPal? Like, isn't the point of this stuff that it's better than fiat?
And you know, that's a really good point that you mentioned PayPal there when people say stable coin. And that's sort of like my earlier argument. A lot of people still didn't get it. I went to conferences and people would be dead set on like how stable coins, like you know, Tether could replace the USD. And I'm like, no, but you know, like, and hear me out. Go to your local pizza shop right now and try to pay for pizza with PayPal. Go to your local convenience store. Ask them if they accept PayPal. They do not. They're not interested in it. Same way they're not going to be interested in your stable coins.
Yeah, they just want money however it gets them to their bank and they can use it. Yeah, it's one of those things where I've seen the whole like, then there's like DeFi and stuff like that. There's always like hype trends that come and go, and some of them are really cool and stuff. And any way you could have a decentralized anything is pretty much a good improvement. But you know, when I start hearing the stablecoin stuff about the entire purpose. So like when talking about volatility, let's get to that for a little bit about volatility is good. Well, let me tell you how volatility is bad, because you know it too, and then get into the good part, because I remember having all my stuff in Dash in end of 2017 when it's $1,600 a coin. And then, of course, over time, it goes down to 38. And it's thankfully not there anymore. But, there's still rough times to kind of go through with that. But think about small businesses, right? And like a restaurant. Like, how many restaurants make any profit on a Monday? Pretty much none. It's all weekend, tell you, Friday and weekend traffic that they kind of make their actual profit, and the seasons too. And especially like in New Hampshire here, where it's cold a lot, like half the year, and then the other half of the year in the summer, not only is it nice and people are out, but every other state empties into New Hampshire to come up to the lakes to drive through. And it's like a lot of restaurants, if they don't have summer tourist traffic, cannot function. And which is a little bit of a sad thing with this whole, lockdown nonsense. But in what it does tell you is a lot of businesses go through ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs. And that's kind of like the natural heartbeat of the world.
Volatility is natural. That's exactly it.
You eat like a tiger, you kill, and then you spend a week just feeding off of that while you're looking for your next kill. And it doesn't, sometimes you get plenty, sometimes you don't. And it's about managing that risk that people are bad at managing risk. They're bad at living with few possessions. They have this whole world structured around stability in the debt-based world, where it's like, I don't own a car, I don't own a house, I don't own a TV even. I just it's all I make payments on everything. Mm-hmm. And you're just sitting making payments, and then you got the shackles on as you're stuck to your job, because if you lose your job, then everything is gone and you're terrified. Whereas if I don't work, of course, have my girlfriend freak out. She used to be talking like that, but I don't work for 6 months. I'm still fine. And then I do work a bunch, and then the price goes up, and then you just go up and down, and you ride that kind of stuff. And it's as long as you're able to deal with it and not be scared about not having money, it's fun to a certain extent.
You're funny because you're hitting it on the nail on the head. People are already comfortable being broke. Mm-hmm. And having that, I'm how many, 70%, I think it was recently, or so, it was maybe over 70%, I think just came out, of Americans didn't have $1,000 in their savings account for this emergency pandemic. So over 70% of people didn't have $1,000. That's insane. That means majority, maybe 80% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, which means you're already emotionally ready for the volatility of crypto. I just think they're not ready for the upside of it, where maybe they get 30%, 80% gains on their paychecks, and now they don't know how to be frugal and not do crazy things. And I mean, for me, when Bitcoin went to $20,000, I didn't cash out into stablecoins or fiat. I paid my rent off for over a year. I paid my phone bill off for a year. I paid off, when at the time I had a car, before I started traveling, I paid my car payments off for a year. So I decided to use those gains to take care of the volatility of the future. Say, hey, if it goes up, great. But if it goes down, at least I'm covered for these months, sort of the way miners kind of cover their asses. I kind of just, personal business took care of it, but I think people just aren't ready for that positive benefits of crypto, but they are already emotionally ready for the negatives. If you were to go down 10%, you're already paycheck to paycheck. You're already broke mentality.
Yeah. Although I would kind of split hairs on that little thing. I don't think they're emotionally ready for it. They're emotionally ready for being broke, but they're not emotionally ready for being uncertain. That's the thing, is you don't know where it's going to go. It's an adventure, and it's stable. They're stable broke, and they're not stable coins. It's stable broke, right? They're just all that's again why people like stable coins, is because they're stable broke. They're losing their value over time, but it's stable. It's a stable way.
A pandemic kicks in, and now your beef, chicken, and pork are going to cost 3 times as much because there is a food shortage because of the food supply chain being broken. So your fiat stable just went volatile in the negative direction. Your US dollar just crashed because everything else is costing more US dollar, from your local roll of toilet paper to your $13 bottle of hand sanitizer that used to be at the dollar store. You know what I mean? Like all the things that people need to have to survive right now are costing more. So they're already losing 10 to 20% in their purchasing power. The volatility that they're not looking at is on the price tag, like I mentioned earlier, that I've started to notice and appreciate in my wallet. I've started to notice the volatility in my wallet and associated to the volatility on the price tags. And I think a lot of people don't have that opportunity of the volatility of their wallet. It is stable to a negative trajectory. It is stably going down in purchasing power, which is a bummer.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, during the good times, first off, people don't experience good times. Like they get a raise and then they are able to like upgrade their car that they still make payments on, you know? They don't actually have their car. And when they never have this surplus of money that goes, and if they get like an extra few $100, like they find some on the street or they win a lottery ticket that's like a couple grand or something like that, then they just kind of like, they get rid of it because they don't know what it's like to have money. And when you actually have something, first off, it is a good feeling to be like, I got space to, like, if I wanted to, I could buy this, I could buy that, I could go on this vacation, I could do all this stuff. And then the best part is just not doing it, is to have it and just be like, I get to pay my bills for the next year. I get to be responsible. I get to do all this kind of stuff and just kind of ride that out. But it's a free kind of way of living. And I kind of get claustrophobic if I'm stuck behind the desk at someone else and someone else is like, I can get in trouble. Like right now, I can't get in trouble. I can get people mad at me, but I can't get in trouble.
Yeah.
You know?
I've always said that at conference, like, no, I cannot. I'm like, everyone's like, yo, are you wearing your pajamas on stage at a conference? Yeah. Are you smoking weed outside of it? Like, yeah. Like, are you I can't get fired. I mean, nobody can fire me. I just use the internet.
And if someone didn't want to associate with your brand because of that, you know, it's on you. But that's
it's funny.
It is on you.
That's funny. I don't feel like I have a brand. My brand is I'm unbrandable. Like, and I mean, like, I don't have a brand. I shouldn't. I couldn't, and I don't want to, which is weird, right?
Which is a great brand to have.
Thank you. I think.
If you think about it, it's like it is. You got one whether or not you are the brand, and
right.
I think that whether or not you intend to do it, by being weed smoking, pajama wearing on stage kind of guy, that is a very strong brand that people kind of associate with crypto. Is like some people are like, I would never, blah, 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 blah. But some people see that and it's just like, that guy gets to be free.
Right. That's the point, bro. Like, you know how many people I run into at a conference that are telling me that they retired 3 years ago and they're just looking for something to invest in, and they're wearing a stiff 3-piece suit with the most uncomfortable dress shoes you could imagine. And I'm looking at them and I'm wearing my pajamas and slippers and I'm high as a kite. And I'm like, you don't look retired to me, sir.
Yeah, you look like you're still in the game.
Right. You look like you're working hard right now. I'm at the conference. I am part of a renaissance. You, sir, you are at work.
And that's exactly it. When a lot of people also don't see the hard work that comes with this, that it's not like you're just like a loser that somehow hit the gold mine and makes money. It's like there's a lot of work going out there, being on shows, doing things, publishing content, going on all the different platforms, changing stuff around, researching the stuff. So you're not just, a moron, like you actually know what you're talking about. Like there's so much actual work, but is it really work if it's fun,
That's exactly. I've been on probably 5 different mainstream media news outlets, from like CNN, CBS, CNBC, and twice on RTTV, bro.
Yeah.
And it's always just been like me trying to have the most fun I can by also trying to contribute as much as I can. Because like, I am no, Andreas Antonopoulos. I'm also no Jimmy Song. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be out here building developer schools and putting out devs. And, I'm not going to be out here, ramping speakers and stuff. But I can do the most that I can do, and just, I mean, I don't want to take it serious at all and just have fun with it. And a lot of people do get upset that I may have like, you know, I have like a decent following and stuff, and they're like, you don't take it serious, blah, blah, blah. This, you're like, I get a lot of you're what's wrong with crypto. I get that a lot, and I'm like, I don't think me being a public figure and also liking Bitcoin could be detrimental to it. But the fact that you think that could be detrimental to it, I think is detrimental. That mentality is what is bad for Bitcoin. That you think one person in the space or this group of people, like, you know, the whole Vitalik wearing unicorns thing, that's what's bad for crypto. Is like, I think the mentality that you have that could be bad for an entire industry is bad.
Yeah, and especially like the bad for crypto kind of a thing. Here's what I think is bad for crypto. I think what's bad for crypto is dishonesty and negativity. And I think that if, for example, if people are pumping stuff that has no value, like stable coins or whatever, but there's a lot of things that have no value. If people are, yeah, what? There you go. That's, you know, that's even an easy target. There's like others, but if you're pumping stuff that has no value, and also if you're just like tearing people down, you know, and like a part of it's like tribalism, like you're trying to defend your thing over others, which I can't, whatever. I understand if you work for the company or whatever, but like the amount of people that just like say, you know, for lack of, you know, of course I had it first with the whole Dash is a scam, like over and over and over by people that don't know what any of that means. And then of course Bitcoin Cash came around, and then you got all that, you know, all that stuff. And that was probably a little bit more, some of it might've been deserved, right? Through some weird branding and marketing being like, we're the real Bitcoin and stuff. But still, it's like getting mad and like, I'm not gonna, like, BitRefill doesn't accept Bitcoin Cash. Why? It's because the high ups are just like,
because of that interview Roger did with John.
Yeah, pretty much. That's it. And it's just like, well, some guy who happens to have a lot of those coins got mad at you and flipped you the bird, and so therefore the token has no value. It's just like a weird thinking. I think
that's a big common misconception people have, is like Roger is the founder and creator of BCH, Bitcoin Cash. Like he led the fork. He was the guy. Like, he no.
Yeah, so that's another thing I think is definitely wrong. And like, I still remember when a certain, again, there's only so much smack I will talk on air, but a person who shall be unnamed heard about and kept on talking about on his show how New Hampshire is great, how there's all these places accepting crypto, it's like a paradise, and he eventually moved up here, and then he found out that they were all using the wrong coin, and then after a little while he just ended up moving out of state. He just left. It's like,
that's fucking hilarious.
And it's just like this is everything you dreamed about. Like if I like moved to, you know, Brazil.
Was the wrong coin BCH?
No, the wrong coin was Dash. Because Dash was like 80% of all merchant adoption until relatively recently. It's probably like 60 or more, but it's still like almost everything around here, because people here switched to Dash a year before Bitcoin Cash existed. It's just like a timeline thing.
Gotcha.
But it's like, can you imagine if I went to somewhere like Brazil and I'm like, oh, these places take crypto, and everyone's like smart cash only, and I'm like, what is this nonsense? But like, I wouldn't leave. I would just, you know, I mean, I wouldn't like this crash in value that smart cash has, or I'd want some better stuff, but I'd still like, this is awesome, maybe I can educate about them something better. But if they're just not interested, I'd just be like, well, you know what, I'd rather be spending Dash, but why not, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, with so many things, you know how easy it is for me to spend BTC and you get Dash. I mean, I could use Changely, Shapeshift, block trades or what, I don't know. There's so many options where I could just send my Bitcoin and you get your Dash. That shouldn't even be a make or break at all. Period. That doesn't even make sense to me, because in my opinion, all crypto is crypto. Crypto is crypto, and you can go from that crypto to that crypto without any middlemen. You can do it very seamlessly. And especially if you're as involved as somebody who wants to live in a state that's a crypto utopia, it shouldn't be hard. I mean, if you want to hodl XRP, by all means, hodl it, but it shouldn't stop you from spending Dash. You know, like, I don't think the crypto tribalism, cavemen get that concept yet. And I think that they're still kind of waiting for that atomic swap, kind of Oracle-esque vibe where like these DeFi step in and something magically does the work for them. When they send BTC to an Ethereum address, Ethereum just magically shows up. I think a few wallets like Monarch could, potentially integrate something in their wallet to where if I pasted an Ethereum address in a Bitcoin wallet type of a transaction, it could just use like Changely in the background to just do that and have that happen without any magic atomic swaps happening on chain.
Yeah, there's been a bunch like that. There's some lesser known coin called Gulden, which is basically like a Dutch Dash clone, not quite, but like, and they had something cool in both their core wallet, like their full blockchain wallet, and their mobile wallet, where you could put in a BTC address and send to that, and you should send to it, and they would just exchange it like instantly. Like they wouldn't exchange; you have to wait for it to turn into Bitcoin, then send. It would just be.
Did they use the treasury?
No, it was through a partnership through some other exchange.
Oh, so it was like an exchange. Okay.
Yeah, so it would just be instant like that. It would basically be like paying with Bitcoin, which is fantastic because that's what people used back then. And you could also put in someone's like IBAN, like bank account number, into the address field and send to there. And there was like no KYC if it was like under 30 euros or under per week or something like that. But it's still like, can you imagine sending your crypto to a bank account and it just like shows up in their bank account, like put in the address field of a wallet? And like, obviously that's not something that works in the US because the US has a horrific banking system.
Yeah, for real.
But it's like, and I don't own any of this coin either. I used to have like a little bit, and then it did a massive pump and I switched out, and then now no one talks about it anymore. But credit where credit's due. That worked. That does work. Just like I'm also a big fan of LBRY, but even beyond that, I'm a big fan of LBRY's sign up process where like they say like, okay, verify, sign up with your email, you get a few credits. Here, watch your first 5 videos. Now you get a few credits. Hey, invite a friend, you get, so many credits. Hey, your first 5 subscribers, you get this many.
And then they incentivize you to start creating content, which is what I think is the coolest. Because like they'll give you their credits for becoming a content creator, and then they incentivize you to keep doing it with like monthly rewards for making content. So like you don't have to be an expert, you don't have to have like a super high quality camera and microphone or anything, but like you could just do whatever. You could an XYZ, fill in the blank, there's a billion different YouTube videos out there, take that kind of a thing and do it on LBRY and be an early adopter.
Yeah, there's so much innovation coming out of there too. Like I have this plugin on Brave right now that every time I visit a YouTube channel that is synced to LBRY, it just redirects me to LBRY.
Oh, so that should work for mine then, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'll have to actually see if that works. It's only ones that are officially synced. So like, for example, I mirror my content on YouTube, but I don't sync. Like it's not a sync. Like I publish on LBRY and then I publish on YouTube.
Separately. Oh, no. I publish on YouTube, then I sync to LBRY.
Yeah. As soon as I can do LBRY first and it just auto kicks it to YouTube, then I'll sign up for that.
YouTube won't allow it, man. That's a YouTube problem. That's the YouTube API doesn't allow in.
I think it's in alpha right now. Like I think Rice is doing that as far
as
I know.
Rice also has the I was going to mention this too a little bit ago, the unstoppable webs domain. Like, do you gotta, like I have KennBosak.crypto and I linked like 100 different crypto addresses to KennBosak.crypto. So if you open up like your, I think Monarch wallet, Edge wallet, Atomic wallet, Trust wallet, you type in KennBosak.crypto, you can send me any crypto you want to that name and it'll just show up to the exact right address, which is epic. And then, Unstoppable Domains just started doing the Unstoppable websites. And I know Rice got that. He's beta testing that for them, which is really cool to think. You could have your Brave browser paired to your Unstoppable website. And then when people visit, you can earn Brave basic attention token right from the Brave browser and LBRY on top. So now you're like kind of double dipping, which I think is people are going to be able to accumulate so many different types of currencies. I think through like one avenue. I don't know. Like, I think that's where we're going to have to figure out what to do with a lot of these. I don't know what to call it, like dust, I guess, at the time. Like you're going to have basic attention token. You're going to have LBRY. You're probably going to have like Bitcoin all coming in from like that one source.
Yeah. And that they always talk about portfolio diversification and stuff. And like, I never really diversified just because I'm like, I don't believe in a lot of these projects the same way, but also just because that's what I get. I get paid in something, I keep it in that. And now it's like, it's sort of like an automatic diversification because, I get library credits, I get BAT, and then Hydro and some loop ring or some nonsense on Public 0x. I got, BAT on Brave stuff. I get Hive tokens there. Someone gives me BCH here, and then I get some other Dash stuff there, and then of course BTC on float, and like I get and I just sort of keep them in there, and then you have a diversified portfolio. So what happens if your BAT just goes through the roof, but then your LBC crashes? It's like, well, I'm fine. It's kind of like the new diversification thing. So here's the point where I'm going to shill the well-known hashtag Fiat Free Challenge. I'm sure you remember I was on your show talking about this stuff.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, it's kicking off. I'm seeing people post stuff. I just helped some dude in Italy figure out how to live off crypto because he's like, I don't think I can do anything here. And I'm like, Bit Refills got you covered, bro. And he's like, great, I bought my groceries. And some other guy in Germany just posted a video on Hive of him going and buying groceries, also, with his mask on and stuff, of course. But yeah, so it's basically the Fiat Free Challenge, as I've told everyone. Yeah, there we go. This
is my mask.
Yeah, good stuff. So basically, Fiat Free Challenge is try to be like us for a little while, right? Try to spend May and spend crypto and see how far you get. See how many things you didn't think you could buy with crypto. Like, I bet you didn't know you could pay your bills with Lamium, right? Like, why not? Why not just see how far you can get? And it's like, what, you get 30% in, and you're like, that's not for me. I want little people to know how to do this, because what happens if the stable coin known as the US dollar starts to become not so stable and it goes whoomp, and you're scrambling to figure out what to do? And like, what if you're a crypto poser who hodls stuff but has no idea how to use it, and it's just like all you're talking about is the collapse of the fiat system and the Federal Reserve and stuff, and then it happens, and then you don't know how to spend your Bitcoin.
That'd be hilarious.
Well, it's going to be sad and hilarious, and it will happen, unfortunately. But for the people who care, I'm trying to save some of them with the Fiat Free Challenge. So learn how to use it, so at least you don't have your pants fall down and you're just like, oh, what do I do? Do you think, this is the last thing, when do you think people are going to be able to live without touching fiat? Like, you touch fiat. Sometimes I touch fiat. When do you think you're not going to need to anymore? What's your vibe?
I mean, I guess it would have to be that, as how I mentioned, like, it's as easy for me to send BTC and you get Dash. Like, we can make that happen. That's really convenient. Throw a shape shift in between that transaction and it's seamless. It's done. I think we need that, PayPal or bank that ramp hasn't really been established, right? Without thick KYC or other burdens. But I think right around that convenience state, when I can send somebody X crypto to their PayPal account or their Wells Fargo account address or whatever the case may be, and they can get their preferred dollar or fiat, whatever. I think, Gemini, what they're doing, working on some stuff with their stablecoin and some banks. And I think that's the missing link, is just being able to, so if I could just give my cousin BTC through and him receive US dollar in PayPal, I don't think he would need it to go right into USD right away, because he would know that, it's that easy. I could just I could turn it into cash if I needed to. But because he thinks that it's too hard to turn that crypto into cash, if he needs to turn it into cash, it's too hard. Just you do that work for me, And I'm like, all right, well, here's the cash. You can pay the more. But if he could, I don't know. I think it's just a matter of time, honestly. I think the short answer is more time.
Yeah. And just from what I'm like, over the last year, I remember Bitrefill having just a few options. Like, you was US heavy, and now I check some other countries and I'm like, wow, this is populated. Like, I just got Mexican food from down the street on Cinco de Mayo from a place called Cinco de Mayo with DoorDash, I go with DoorDash.
That's awesome.
Because, Dash, Bitrefill, DoorDash, there you go. And it's like, wow, it's now DoorDash, Uber Eats. I'm sure Grubhub's on there too. Like, Bitrefill's gone ahead, and then Lamium didn't exist until middle of last year for the bill pay stuff. And then I was still like looking at their forums. I'm like, all this IBAN number and stuff like this doesn't exist in the US. And then they're like, well, we'll work on something. And then, last month I paid the electricity bill with Dash. And so I'm like, welcome to the new era.
Right on, man. And, I think Cash App may be doing a little bit about what I was trying to talk about as an example. Because, if I sent Bitcoin to your Cash App, you can get Bitcoin and turn it into dollars and whenever you want. And I feel like more of that, like more PayPal doing that, more of like your Wells Fargo. Banks are going to get involved in this, whether, you think they aren't or whatever. Like, they may not let you hold it, but they will accept your Bitcoin and they will give you dollars for it. And I do think that will be a fact. That's not even too far-fetched, because they're going to then sell that to somebody else at a premium and make money off the exchange anyway. But they're going to accept your Bitcoin. I'll be able to send BTC or Dash or whatever crypto to your Wells Fargo account, because odds are Wells Fargo is going to own an exchange like Poloniex, and Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs.
Son, am I right?
Hell, maybe. Yo, we don't know, man. We don't know what new era big money can do as opposed to old era big money, man. Like, are these new whales going to be as bad as the old whales? Or...
New whale, same as the old whale, huh? All right. So where can people find stuff about you so they can help you out with whatever you're doing?
I'm on every platform, man, but mostly on Twitter. So you can find me on Twitter. Yeah, Kenneth Bosak on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Float, Twitch, Uptrend, Somi, Rebuzz, Hive, Steemit, DLive, BitTube, DTube. I don't know. There's so many.
Yeah.
I'm just online all over the place. I have a LinkedIn, but I don't use it.
Yeah, that's like for old
Dude,
people almost. It's kind of weird.
As soon as I got on LinkedIn, I was like, these guys are so boring. I think I posted that on LinkedIn like every day for a week. Like, you guys are boring. You guys are boring.
That's good stuff. Well, I'll give a personal. So, do you have a Cointree yet?
I don't.
Yeah, so in case anyone listening doesn't know what that is, it's like a link tree except for crypto addresses. It's something that Naomi Rockwell and company have created, and you can list all your crypto addresses and then all your social links in the same spot, the one link. And then also when you send a crypto donation, you can send a message with it that shows up on your little public wall, so you can click on your messages.
Oh, cool.
And then so now I have a couple right now that are pretty cool.
Have you heard of OneUpCoin?
Yeah, you told me about them. They're the people that let you like monetize your streams and stuff through a Coinbase, right? Is that it, or is that something different?
And you can plug in other things, but it's already easily done with Coinbase. But yeah, so somebody can send you like a donation, and it could be offline or online. But if you're like online and you have it set up with your stream elements, they'll get like a super chat shout out on the screen. So like if I sent you Dash, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ripple, whatever, it would just show up on the screen saying, hey, Ken just sent you some crypto. Here's the message, which is pretty cool. And people can do it offline. And when you go and check your OneUpCoin, donation, you can see your offline tips as well.
Pretty cool. Now, do they need some KYC stuff in order to work or not?
No.
Interesting. Well, I'll have to give it a first look. Thanks to you, I'm giving it a second look. So my appeal right now is check out the hashtag Fiat Free Challenge everywhere there's a hashtag.
Do it.
And go to float.app, look up Kenn Bosak, and start throwing him $5 a month in Bitcoin. In fact, or however much, whatever the amount type thing is. In fact, if you go under the little thing, you can actually buy Bitcoin right in the app, I believe, through a credit card. So,
which is pretty cool, because I used to tell people to check, like, somebody would ask where to buy crypto, and Monarch is one of my sponsors, straight up. But I would just say use your Monarch wallet, because you could buy Bitcoin in the Monarch wallet. But I've been telling people, there's a social media platform you can use and you can buy Bitcoin there. And I think it's just it's a different experience to have the social media and the Bitcoin, because it feels almost like a game. It's like credits, it's in-game credits on float or whatever, instead of like serious money in my portfolio wallet.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. Well, anyway, I'm wrapping this up. Everyone have a great day and follow Kenn, throw him some money. He is your best crypto mascot, and he's your number one source for what's actually going on in the space. Forget the experts. That's the real expert. See you guys later.
Have a day.